I've decided to leave. I've come to the conclusion that Spain is no longer the best fit for me personally, and there's another country that I think I'll enjoy living in better. You know the expression, go where you're treated best, or I'm exercising my right to pack up and go where I think that might be. Now, I've got nothing against the Spanish people. In fact, I think they're brilliant. What I have a problem with is the Spanish government, but I don't talk politics on this channel. For that, I've got a second channel called Smoke and Speculation. It's actually based on finance, making money, investing, stock trading, options trading. If you're interested in all of that, that's on my second channel, Smoke and Speculation, and I made a video called The Socialism Scam, where I go into details of why I am dissatisfied here in Spain and why I'm leaving. Now, what has this got to do with audio? Because I focus this channel on audio and I don't speak politics over here. Well, every time that I've physically relocated previously, and I've got a bit of experience doing this now, since that I've lived in England, Germany, and Italy, and Spain, I've just hired a big van, shoved my stuff in the van, driven it myself to a new location, drive the van back, and give it back to the hire company, then fly back to where I'm relocating to. That's the drill. Now, I've done it a few times, but this time is different because it would be something like 9,000 kilometers drive round trip, and I've got to get a ferry, which takes something like 36 hours. It's just absurd trying to do that. I don't think I would enjoy that road trip. It's a bit over the top, so I'm going to have to ship stuff physically on a ship, in a shipping container. And I looked at the price of shipping containers, and it's about 3.5 to 4 grand for a 20-foot one. I'm looking around, I'm thinking, what am I going to put in the shipping container? I'm not using that. I've not played that guitar in years. What is that doing here? I might as well just sell it all, be lightweight, and get my stuff there a bit easier and cheaper, and use the opportunity as a big clear out and to try and start a bit afresh in a new location with my ultimate kind of studio setup. It's a bit of a challenge. Now, most of this stuff isn't crap. The main thing that is crap here is this audio interface from Behringer. Now, I've memed on this pretty hard on my channel, and I bought it brand new from Tangband, and I think it was 179 euros if I recall correctly, and I've used it only to meme on it on my videos. I've not really used it otherwise. So if you want a fairly new condition in the box Behringer crappy interface, hit me up and let me know. That's the first thing. Everything else is pretty much good quality stuff, which is great, but I just don't use. So I want to find a new home for it, someone who actually will use it. And all of these things, if you're watching from America or Japan or whatever, and you're not going to realistically buy any of this stuff, I'm just documenting what is going. But for anyone who is local or in the European Union, where maybe the cost of postage won't be too high, this stuff is actually for sale. The second thing that I've decided that I'm going to sell, a bit reluctantly, but I've decided it's time, and this might shock some people because I've previously raved about it on my channel, is the TC Electronic BMC2 monitor controller. Now, this is a fantastic monitor controller, and I think it's one of the best that was ever made, because not only is it a monitor controller like all of the rest of them that you can see on the market that does convert digital signals, if you're lucky, to analog, or just do analog in and then analog out. This one does digital in, digital out, and digital in and analog out. And that's important if you've got digital speakers. And there's an increasing amount of digital speakers on the market, but there's almost no one doing a monitor controller with digital in, digital out. Why? It doesn't make any sense. And this is one of the few units that was ever manufactured for a reasonable price. Well, when it came out, I think it was like 600 or 700 euros. It wasn't cheap when it came out. And then Behringer acquired the company and then cancelled this product and all the good products and just pump out a bunch of crap now with the name from TC Electronics. But it's actually just Behringer nowadays. But this was pre-Behringer, and this is actually a high quality unit. And this was a decent product, and it still is a decent product, and you can only get them secondhand now. So why am I selling it? Well, now finally, I've found an audio interface that is actually has all of these features integrated into it. It has a full kind of monitor controller with digital out, coaxial SPD output, with a calibrated monitor gain on the speakers, and on the headphones. This, for example, the Focusrite Claret April, almost, I don't know, $1,000 or however many dollars it is, whatever price you can get it for. They all have pots. You look at the SSL thingy jig, SSL 12, whatever it's called. It's just got pots. They've all got potentiometers. It's crap. Please stop using potentiometers on professional level audio interfaces for headphone outputs. Please. I've finally found one. Calibrated everything. It's hit it out the park. It's got everything I need. So I don't need this anymore if I get that audio interface. And I'm going to get that once I've moved. So this is going to go somewhat reluctantly because this is absolutely amazing. It's got my custom bamboo wood end cheeks that I made specifically myself for this unit. I've also got the original ones, but they've got an old and kind of like the plastic's gone tacky and stuff. So that's partly why I was motivated to make the wooden end cheeks here, but they look quite nice with the bamboo wooden end cheeks. And this is one of the things that's going to go. Now, again, all of this stuff, I'm documenting it, but if you're interested in buying this, all of this stuff is for sale, so just hit me up. We have the Fosi Audio ZH3. Now, this is a really cool little headphone amplifier slash DAC, and I reviewed it previously. But because I reviewed it, I got this sent to me for free. This is a review unit, and I'd feel a bit weird selling review units for money. Although I can sell it, there's nothing like contractually preventing me from selling this. It would feel weird, so what I'm going to do is do a giveaway. I'm going to give this away for free because, again, the same reason with the BMC2, I don't need this for the same reason that the audio interface that I'm looking at getting handles everything. I don't need either of these things anymore. Now, I've only used this to review it a couple of times, and I featured it on my channel. I think I maybe featured it in 2 videos or something, but the rest of the time it's just been in the box, so it's pretty fresh, pretty brand new. And so if you want this, I'll send it out for you if you pay the postage and packaging costs. So 0 charge, you just got to pay for me to send it to you, like the shipping. I'm not going to pay for your shipping and give it to you for free. So just pay the shipping and it's yours. However, before you start spamming my email, anyone who sends me an email about this will just instantly be deleted and banned from the competition to win this. So, because obviously anything for free, whether it's 200 euros or 2,000, everyone's going to want it. There's going to be a tiger wave of people wanting this. So the way that you can get this and qualify for getting this, there's a couple of things. Firstly, you need to pay the postage. I'm not going to pay your postage. And secondly, I'm not going to give any free gifts to haters or people who aren't really interested in me and they just want to blag saying free. If you want this, you have to have already have supported me in some way by buying some kind of product from me, not just a €2 thing, which is basically free, but some kind of thing, a course, a plugin, or been a mastering customer or something, having showed some support for what I do before the date of this video, and then you qualify. Leave a comment down below of this video saying that I want the unit and I qualify because I bought this course or I bought this plugin, or we've worked together on mastering or on this EP or this album, and I'm in Germany or I'm in the Netherlands. I want the ZH3. Now, out of the things that you see behind me, there's a couple of things that I've decided have got to go as well. The first one is this MOTU 24 AI, and that's not because I don't like it anymore, I think it's bad. In fact, I still highly recommend this and think it's absolutely fantastic. It's a beast of an audio interface if you understand how much of a hidden gem it is. It's got 24 analog inputs in DSUB or Phoenix connectors on the back, and it's also got 24 digital inputs and 24 digital outputs. So if you think, oh, well, it's 24 inputs, but I can't use it because I can't get any audio out of it, I need outputs as well. Well, it's got 24 digital outputs, but you can use one of the 3 optical outputs to go to something like the TC Electronics BMC2. So this is one of the reasons why I've got this thing, because you can use it perfectly with the 24 AI sending out an output from that, so you can monitor from this. But because it's got multiple Toslink outputs, what you can do is you can use this to say, okay, I want one kind of mix, because it's got an inbuilt mixer, of course. It's got DSP and all sorts of stuff. You've got EQ and compression and everything, reverb even, all inside in the hardware level of the 24 AI. Well, you can have 3 Toslink cables coming out of it, and you can say, okay, I want to monitor the main output. Okay, now I want to monitor one of the mixes, but you can press that again and you can get, instead of ADAT channels 1 and 2, you can listen to ADAT channels 3 and 4. So you've actually got a monitor controller sitting on your desk where you can listen to 3 different mixes coming out of the 24 AI. That's why this is an absolute amazing combination, the BMC2 with the 24 AI, and that's absolutely fantastic. But as I've mentioned before, I'm going to replace the functionality of all of this stuff with one new audio interface, which I'll announce in a future video. I'm using my 24 AI to connect up all of my modular stuff. So I've got these trunk lines here. These are from DSUB. These are just multiples which I've modified to be trunk lines to DSUB. So each one of these, I've got 3 matching 4 HP DSUB multiples, where the other side of that is a DSUB connection, and it's about 135 centimeters long, and so it's unbalanced mini jack to DSUB, and so it obviously pairs up very nicely with the 24 AI because that's what I was using it for. But if someone wants the 24 AI and someone else wants those DSUB connections because they've got some other interface or solution, well, I can sell those separately to different buyers as well. So all of my Eurorack modules I'm extremely happy with, apart from one, which is a very good Eurorack module, but I just don't use it anymore, and that is the Expert Sleeper's little Mikey. I don't need a microphone preamplifier in my Eurorack system. I've got microphone preamps coming out my ears. I don't need it in my Eurorack system. So that's up for sale as well. And although I really like my small speakers, these are fantastic and I'll often listen to them when editing. I think they look really cool with the kind of like the vintage kind of like relic or something design that I did with the paint. I really like that. Some people didn't like that so much in the comments, but some people really do like that as well. If you like that as well, I'm going to get rid of my small speakers. Small speakers like this, whether they're Auratones or these ones, are absolutely amazing for mixing, and especially if you've got a small room or your room doesn't sound great. These are absolutely incredible speakers for that. But I don't do a lot of mixing. I'm mainly doing mastering, and for mastering you need full range, so someone else can get more use out of this than me. So I'm just going to get rid of the small speakers, and if I regret that, I'll just make another pair. They're not difficult to make. And the last thing that you see in shot, which unfortunately has to go, are my acoustic panels. Because they're quite large, it takes up a lot of volume, and that's going to be quite expensive to ship over. And if I can sell them for a reasonable price, then maybe I can make new ones in my destination, and maybe make some kind of like, I don't know, like an online course. I might even make a free online course on how to build acoustic panels. So it might be an opportunity even to make them again. So I was thinking of doing that. I think it's the most sensible thing to do. So if anyone is local in Spain, in somewhere around like the Denia, Alicante, Valencia area, and wants to come down with a van, they're like 2 meters tall, so they're pretty big. They're fairly thick as well. And I've got 8 that I would sell of these particular panels. So that's a van, or like a small van load of acoustic panels. So if you're in Spain and you want some acoustic panels, I'll sell them for a fairly reasonable price, basically cost price, so that I can recoup my cost from these and use it to build new ones when I get to my destination. Next up, I've got this Jazzmaster. It comes in a basic soft case from Thomann, and it's a pretty nice Jazzmaster. It's got like Seymour Duncan pickups and stuff, but it's like the Squire Jazzmaster. It's not the Fender one, but it's like the decent Squire one, and I played this a couple of times for some pretty cool gigs. I played in Altona Festival in Germany, in Berlin. That was a pretty amazing gig. I played it in a few places. I did a bit of a tour with this guitar, and that's why I bought it, for that specific tour, and I only really played it on that tour and not really much else. So I had this guitar for about 10 years, and I've played it just like a few times, and I've always taken pretty good care of it, and it's not really done much. It's just sat there, and so it's a shame for a nice guitar just to sit there and not be played. So if you're interested in this guitar, swing by, and if you're in Spain locally, you can come and get this for a reasonable price. It's not really in tune, but it's pretty cool. And I really like this guitar, but I don't play it enough, and it's another thing that's got to go. Next up, I want to find a new home for my acoustic guitar. It comes in this nice, fairly premium soft case, and inside we have the guitar itself. You've seen this on my channel already when the Meek Dagger played a nice song and we were trying out the Takstar microphone and stuff like that previously. Now, this is a Samick acoustic guitar. The specific model is the OM2, and it has always been a pretty nice sounding acoustic guitar. It's not like absolutely the greatest guitar of all time, and it's got some damage, like there's a bit of damage there, there's a bit of a knock here. I'll send you pictures if you're interested. I've had it for years, so it's not in the best condition, but I just mainly want to find it a new home. Now, this thing, I'm not going to send this to Japan or to the United States or Australia. If you're local here in Spain, you're in near Denia or Alicante or something like that, then maybe you can swing by and grab this for a reasonable price. And again, I'm not putting any like prices necessarily on this stuff. We can just like work stuff out. I'm not like in the business here of like squeezing every penny and trying to make the biggest profit. This stuff is mostly I'm just trying to find new homes for stuff at prices which are reasonable and not just silly prices. Like I do want to get like a fair price for stuff, but you can suggest stuff. Now you can see behind me the classic three-way speakers that I built, and I have an online course on building. I love those speakers so much, I'm keeping them, they're getting shipped. But I also did a mid-dome version of them that I was powering with the Hypex FA123 plate amps. Now, I've sold my Hypex plate amps because I sold my mastering speakers. A guy actually was interested after I posted that community post, and he was in Mallorca. He came over on the ferry, got the speakers, he bought them off me, and then he had something like 40 minutes to get back on the ferry and then go back to Mallorca. And the ferry journey, I think it was 5 or 6 hours each way or something. So he was on the ferry like all day. I hope he wasn't like seasick by the time he got home. But he came and got my mastering speakers, and I've already sold them. And I sold him also the Hypex FA123 plate amplifiers that I was using between those two speakers. When I had the mastering speakers up, I was using it on those. When I had the mid-dome version up, I was using it on those. And this was the mid-dome that I was using in the mid-dome variety of those speakers. Now, this is some kind of thing that you can get off Alibaba. It's called a Swan something. It doesn't even say on it what it is. It's the model DMNA, I think. It claims it's 5 ohms and 120 watts. This doesn't go as low, like the cutoff is slightly higher on this one than the Dayton Reference mid-dome, but this one is slightly flatter, I think, so there's pros and cons of both. But I've got this mid-dome, and I've got this Dayton Reference mid-dome, and obviously I've got a pair of each. So if you want a pair of the Dayton Reference 8 ohm mid-domes, or if you want a pair of the Chinese mid-domes, just let me know and they could be yours. This pair of Dayton Reference 4 ohm 8-inch paper woofers. Now these sound great. These are what I was using with the mid-dome version of the classic three-way design. And those drivers that I sold the other day through a community post, the guy who bought them has already built a pair of speakers, and they look really cool. So it's nice seeing photos from what people build from these. So maybe someone can grab those drivers, build something cool, send me a photo. Next, this MIDI Fighter Twister, and this is a fantastic controller, especially for plugins. It illuminates and you can see the level from the lights and that. It's really good. I was using it to control mastering plugins for a while, but then I haven't really used it for years, and it's just been sitting around doing nothing. This Mackie mixer I bought to do some live shows with my group These Hidden Hands, and that was about 10 years ago now, and I haven't used it pretty much since, apart from as the preamp for my microphone in a couple of YouTube videos. You can see this sitting on my desk in a couple of YouTube videos doing my mastering course and stuff like that. I used it, but apart from that, it's literally done nothing for many years, and I think it's finally time to get rid of it. Now this is for you guys who make music videos and stuff like that. This is a Zhiyun Crane gimbal for a mirrorless camera. Now I bought this years ago, I think 10 years ago or something, and I used it maybe once. And so it's really not got any use at all, hardly, and it's been sitting in its case for like a decade. So if you want one of these, you know where to look. So next on my list, I have a keyboard stand. Now, the story of this is I bought a polysynth and the stand to go with it. I ended up not liking the polysynth and I sent it back, but I forgot to send the stand back. And I've just had this stand like just laying around in its case for like 4 years. And it's like, why have I got this stand? I've got to get rid of this stand. It's a pretty good one. It's from the manufacturer Stay. And yeah, it's almost like not been used. I just had this polysynth on it for a week until I sent it back, and then I put it in the case. It's just gathered dust, and that's it. So if you want a stand, if you have a keyboard, or you want to do some live gigs and you want a nice keyboard stand or something, hit me up because I've got one for you. Next up, I've got a beautiful pair of Lipinski Sound L505 loudspeakers. I was using these as my main mastering loudspeakers for many years. I bought them in 2009 directly. I've used them and cared for them for many years, but over the years, I've transitioned to different speakers. Actually, I swapped to the mastering speakers that I built, the massive ones, but I sold those, as I mentioned earlier. And for now, I'm just here using the passive three-ways, the classic passive three-ways behind me. And so I'm no longer using those Lipinski Sound speakers. And again, I stopped using them, I think probably like 2 years ago now, and they've just been in boxes collecting dust, and I'm driving around Europe with them, and it just doesn't make sense. They've got to go. They're really nice speakers. Anyone who wants to take them off of me for a reasonable price, I don't think I'm going to ship them. They're heavy, they're kind of big, and they're delicate. I don't think I want to ship them. Anyone in Spain or who wants to come and get them, you'll feel free to come and get them. I've got a pair of good condition Lipinski Sound L505 speakers for you. And they also pair very well indeed, because I built these amplifiers to go with them, with a pair of Hypex based monoblock amplifiers. Now, I've got the Fosi Audio ZA3 amplifier, which I'm using to power these classic three-ways that you see behind me, and the Hypex monoblocks have just been sitting in a box for ages. So I built them myself, but the modules inside are Hypex modules, and they have like donut transformers, like linear transformers. So the power supply is a pretty good solid power supply, and all of the modules are Hypex. They're very high quality. When I built them about 2010, I think, or end of 2009, something like that, they were extremely high quality. They were like the flagship. I got the most highest quality stuff, and they sound absolutely like transparent. If you want a pair of Hypex monoblocks, let me know. I would consider shipping the monoblocks. Next on my list is I have a Muvman chair. This was fairly expensive when I bought it. It's a height adjustable sit stand stool, and you can easily just move it about. It's kind of like a fancy office thing, but I was using it at my studio. I don't use it nowadays so much. It's just been collecting dust as well. Let me know if anyone is interested in that. I've got a whole bunch of drum and bass records, saying like 200 from the early 2000s, late 90s kind of period. A whole bunch of rare stuff, more mainstream stuff, a lot of jump up stuff, a lot of some neurofunk stuff. The vinyls aren't in the most amazing condition because I actually used them a lot when I was a teenager. Let me know if you're interested in drum bass. I've also got a few guitar stands, and I'll chuck that in if anyone buys a guitar. So last and probably least, we have a couple of cheap microphones which I just dug out, and I'm going to chuck them in the bin if no one wants them. So maybe this could be a runner-up for someone who applies to win the ZH3 but doesn't win it. Maybe you can get these instead if you want. Now this is a condenser microphone. It's a fairly cheap one, but it's quite bright, and last time I used it, it worked and it was all cool. Maybe I'll check them before I send them out. This is a kick drum microphone. Again, just a cheap kind of imitation microphone, but it works just fine as far as I can remember. These two are snare/tom microphones, but they work just fine. This one's missing the bracket, but you can just use it with gaffer tape or whatever other way. So I've got 4 microphones here as well for anyone who might want them. And if you want them, then do the same thing as I just said. for the ZH3, and you can win these if you're a runner-up, or if you explicitly want these instead of the ZH3, then just write that in the comments and I'll see what I can do.